Yes.
I couldn't get through like 10 seconds. It grossed me out.
It's so impactful.
And I was like, oh, I can't handle this right now.
Yeah, you got to be in the right frame of mind to be able to ingest it. But there's all kinds of just wackadoodle stuff going on in the world right now. I mean, it is like turned up to 11 for sure.
I know. It's getting crazy, and I'm really excited to see what Trump's going to do. I listened to a little bit of Benny Johnson's show today, and he has communications with Trump's internal team, and he said that they're about to turn it up like it's going to be turned into, like in baseball terms, it's going to turn into like closer Trump. Like they're going to be. I saw they released a movie today. Like I forgot. I have to look up what it was called. But the Trump team released an actual movie you can purchase for $10 digitally. It looks badass. It's basically Trump rescuing America. So I'll have to check that out.
Well, anyway, I definitely will need to check that out. I've been kind of thinking as I've seen things come in today, because there's so much. It's like you can't, squirrel here, squirrel there. But I was just thinking to myself today, like, how big is what they're doing the other direction that they are willing to allow this Diddy stuff to finally unfold? Like, they must need us to not pay attention to, I don't know, losing a few $1 trillion or so, like something as big as that, right? Because
for sure.
This is, I mean, another level of fuckery.
Well, some of this stuff happened with Diddy when Kamala Harris was the district attorney of San Francisco and California. Like, what did she know?
Exactly. What did she know? I mean, she was in that crowd. I mean,
right, exactly. By the way, are you safe? Are you in the path of the hurricane or
sort of? I don't know.
Okay, all right. You gotta. Yeah.
My house has double hurricane strap downs on the roof, and I put in windows that I'll never have to buy windows again. I'm going out of this house feet first, so.
Are they rated like Cat 5?
Yeah, they're good. So as long as we don't have, water 2 miles inland, I'm okay.
Very good. Yeah, my sister, who's down in Fort Lauderdale, did the same. She got all new windows and doors.
It is not cheap, but it is well worth it.
Not cheap at all.
But I said to him, I was like, now listen, I don't ever have to buy windows again, right? Because there's lifetime warranty on parts and labor. So
yeah. Oh, well, then you can tell how high quality they are.
Oh yeah, and I mean, they have come out anytime we've had any issues, like one of the handle on the sliding glass door, because they're pretty hefty doors, but the handle messed up. They came out, fixed that, and did some other stuff. Anytime we've had like a trail of ants coming in, they've come out, resealed the windows, all that good stuff. So they're a great company.
Awesome. Okay, we can get back to the news. I just want to make sure you're okay.
I am okay, and I think it's going to be far enough out. I mean, you never know until it gets here, but I just have one tree that my husband and I are arguing about trimming it or not. So, but I'm going to win.
So what else has been flooding your airwaves today?
Well, I'm heading outside. My husband's about to launch something really loud.
Oh boy. Kelly, you go over there as a speaker.
Sorry, he's
No worries. I just didn't want to be left alone if Kim had to.
I just had to run outside real quick. Just looking at all the Diddy stuff, right? Then you've got the UN thing, which is terrifying because we've got our Democrats up there basically tried to give away our sovereignty, which they're not allowed to do, but they'll try anything. And so you got that going on.
Yeah, that's one that we talked about for a long time, and then it kind of just went quiet. All those treaties with the WHO and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean,
they haven't been quiet because Republicans. I mean, they had a press conference last week, and they were like, the WHO and the UN are trying to take our medical sovereignty, and like with those treaties are still in play, and they're essentially trying to run roughshod over us. But the good news is that they really can't do it. Like, it's illegitimate, right? But they'll take it. It could cause. Try. Exactly. They're going to try whatever they can to make it happen.
Yeah, it's scary. And I mean, considering last time around with Trump in the elections, we now know that they used foreign intelligence agencies and other agencies of foreign countries to go after him, not in an assassination attempt, but like, what are they doing this time with foreign countries? And there's so many ties with this second assassin. And we learned today that they found his son is also arrested for child pornography. So that's some of the stuff that I was reading about today. It's nuts.
I mean, it's like how blind have we been that has gotten to this point? Like, I mean, it's taken them decades to build this apparatus of doom.
Well, listen, Mike Benz, I know you listened to one of his videos that I sent you a couple of weeks ago, but he's been on like a media tour trying to just like let people know. Like he had a video today where he spoke. It was only about 45 minutes. He spoke to a Hillsdale College course. They asked him to give the history of the intelligence communities, which he started about 1948, and like walked through how this is all turned into this, what he now calls the blob. He doesn't go into all the details of like what's going on right now with censorship. Like, he literally just gives the history of how we got to where we are today. It is effed. I'll try to not curse, but I mean, the things that, I mean, they blatantly say that they're forced to lie about everything that they're doing. And if anybody gets caught lying, then they're immediately, they're not part of the group anymore. They're just a random person, and they just get rid of that person. And how they put in things in place to be able to lie to the American people. Of course, we've talked about what is it called? The Smith-Mundt Act. I think that's what it's called.
Yep.
He went into that and how that got repealed under Obama. And I mean, it's really good. So if people should pay attention to Mike Benz. He also did a Tucker interview that's really good. And what's his name? Sean Ryan interview that's incredible.
So I watched the Tucker one. I think I watched the Sean Ryan one. And yeah, everything that he's saying is, but sometimes I have to like take him in small doses just because it's so overwhelming. And that's like one of those ones that you really feel helpless and pissed off, because who are these people that they think that they get to decide what we know and what we don't know? That to me is the most arrogant, insulting, just treasonous thing that you could do. I mean, it just really pisses me off. So I can only do it in like bursts.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's how the Sean Ryan interview went, because as the interviewer, he was like, man, like we got to pause here. Like, I can't keep up. Like, this is like a fire hose. But I really did like what he did with the Hillsdale College people today, the one that I saw today, because it is just the history. So it was a smaller batch of information, and he laid out the actual documents from 1948 with highlights, where you could see exactly the wording. The guy that wrote this initial document, like as the CIA was being founded, later in life said that it was like his biggest regret. It just giving them basically unlimited power, and it's craziness. And what frustrates me is that why am I only hearing this from Mike Benz? Like, why isn't this like blasted everywhere, and why isn't anyone trying to do anything about it? Because it's out of control.
Well, I mean, it started with the Twitter files, right? So this is,
right.
Mike Benz kind of like, he was already doing some of his work, but then when he linked with Matt Taibbi and kind of filled in the missing pieces, and then that really sent Mike Benz on a trajectory where he stayed on that, the censorship stuff, and was exposing the same people that, we were going through with trash ad nauseum, and he stuck on it. So
Right. And he forced Jim Jordan's hand and helped Jim Jordan get the Facebook files, which also opened up new avenues, which is incredible. And the other part I appreciate about Mike is that he's solely on this one mission of free speech online. And he repeatedly says that it's not partisan to him, that, there's issues on both sides. He doesn't get political about it. He doesn't really care. He doesn't want to make a statement one way or the other. He just wants there to be free speech online. And I appreciate that about him.
Well, the only thing that I wish that I feel like would sell me on Mike completely is if he, and he may have done this, but I just have on Mike completely is if he, and he may have done this, but I just haven't seen it, but like level with us on his background. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually stopped paying attention to him for a little bit at one point when Name Redacted was kind of calling him out. And I thought maybe he didn't really have the credibility I thought he did. But how can you speak for 4 to 6 hours at a time sometimes and just spout this information that no one else seems to be connecting the dots on or showing the receipts on, and nobody is. But at the same time, the same way I treat people who are waking up slowly, I have to realize that everybody kind of wakes up at their own time. And if this is his one mission and he helps to get us free speech online, I appreciate him for it.
Are you going to co-host with me?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
I can for a little bit. Like I said, I wasn't feeling great today, but I'll try to hang out for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going marathon space today. I figured, you know what? We need to keep our scheduled spaces, and I haven't talked to everybody today and gotten the down low, so I figured we could convene and discuss some of this stuff, because, again, it's just so much information. It's nice to have a group to kind of bang things around and go, okay, that's relevant, that's not, this is a false flag, this is, so, putting all of our minds together.
I saw Jen had put out some stuff today. I didn't get a chance to look at it all. Did you see any of the stuff she had?
I did a little bit, but I'd have to go back and look through it. I know that she put out stuff about, I believe, Michael Jackson. I have to be careful with what I say about what she's putting out, because sometimes she just sends me stuff private. Sometimes she posts it, and I'm like, wait, did she put that out or not put that out?
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, she's been all over this Diddy stuff. And she said that, because I called her and was like, oh my gosh, the Diddy stuff is to cover up the UN sovereignty stuff. And she said, I'm not as worried about that because they technically can't do it. And this country won't allow that. But I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess you can reverse it, but it's still why are they doing this?
Well, I might be way off here, but was the explanation that it would have to go through our Congress and Senate before.
Yeah, technically, but I mean, treaties, I didn't think that the treaties had to, but Chris, can you tell us that?
What's that?
Like so the UN is, here right now, and our lovely Democrat administration is basically trying to sell America's health sovereignty to the WHO via the UN as the broker. And, that's stuff that we've been talking about for 2 years. It's today, this week is the week.
No, they can't do that. I mean, they can enter into agreements, but the agreements are worthless.
Is it sort of like executive orders?
Well, it's like the Paris Climate Treaty. It's lasts as long as the current president.
So how much damage could
But I mean, you can go to a federal court and say, screw you, this is not constitutional, put a stop to it. As long as you got a friendly judge, you do the same thing the Democrats did during the Trump administration. You go out to Hawaii and you find yourself a federal judge in the Ninth Circuit that will, take a car or a refrigerator or a new bar in their house and they'll just sign anything you want.
How long? But but they don't have enough time to really cause much damage, do they?
They got until January 21st or January 20th.
Doesn't like after let's say Trump wins, okay?
Mm-hmm.
From that date, he is the president-elect. Isn't there some sharing going on? Like, they can't just do whatever they want, can they?
He's president until January 20th at noon.
You heard a lame duck, right?
Yeah, I heard a lame duck, but I thought that was the whole...
He's president until January 20th at noon.
That sucks. Can we make a new rule?
We have one president at a time. You don't get two presidents. You got one president at a time.
Can we just go ahead and put him in? So we've got to hold out until January 20th.
Let me help you here just a little bit. Inauguration Day used to be in March. So be happy it's in January.
I mean, I feel like that is such a long period. And yes, you're right. I'm grateful that it's January and not March. However, it still seems like such a long period of time where you could have a hostile force in there.
Well, we don't have a parliamentary system here. In a parliamentary system, the government changes hands immediately, and for instance, in Great Britain, the old prime minister's out, the new prime minister's in, and the guy's got a moving van there, and he's got like 8 hours, get out, and that's it, it's done.
I like that plan.
But it doesn't work that way here. There's a transition period where supposedly they work together to smooth things out so that
there's a peaceful transfer of power.
Well, that's a transfer of power, but from one president to the next. The transition is cooperation between incoming government and outgoing government, so that the incoming government has information and policy and everything else that's going on, so that they can say, okay, well, this is all the garbage that's in place, so we know what we're going to get rid of. On day one or on day 17 and a half. And because he's not been president for 4 years. So the State Department's been doing a lot of stuff. The Defense Department's been doing a lot of stuff. And, all these people have to be brought up to speed, whoever he's going to put in these positions. And that's what that transition period's for. So that these people can be brought up to speed. And when they go to be confirmed at the Senate, they're ready to hit the ground running. The last time, he didn't even have any cabinet members confirmed for almost 4 months. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, normally you get cabinet members approved within 30 days.
Chris, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that has anything to do with, do you remember him saying something about when you get the elected nomination, right? But if you take that security briefing before you're actually inaugurated in January, they leak it to the press or they leak it out trying to blame them on it. Did you see him talk about that before?
Yes. He took the red folder, but then he gave it back because he didn't want them to accuse him of leaking sensitive information.
Well, he's
Exactly.
I mean, when you...
Well, do you think it has anything to do with that cabinet member thing you were just talking about, how it took 4 months?
No, that's just spite. It's the opposition party that is just spiteful. That's all. They had control of the Senate.
I was just wondering.
No, they had control of the Senate. But I mean, when you become the nominee of whatever party, Kamala Harris, of course, she's vice president, so she gets the presidential daily brief anyway. But he gets the presidential daily brief in a slightly scaled back version every day. Because
not that one. The one I mean is the one that he talked about where he won't take that full security briefing because they're going to leak him, how Kimberly was saying. That's the one he talked about on a press interview at some point before.
The only daily brief that Joe Biden gets is when he gets his diapers changed by the Secret Service.
We're talking about Trump.
Well,
I liked it though.
He was talking about Joe Biden and Kamala.
The president, there's a presidential daily brief, and then there's a brief that the president gets from individually from intelligence agencies. From for instance, he would get a separate brief from the CIA, or separate brief from the Director of National Intelligence, or from time to time a separate brief from the Director of the CIA. FBI. Briefs from the Attorney General, different cabinet members. Those things don't happen in a vacuum. I mean, there are usually a number of people that are involved in those briefings.
Chris, does he get any briefings from the intelligence committees, like the ones that Tulsi Gabbard was on before she got put on Quiet Skies?
No, there's a separation of powers. So the executive branch has its own thing going on.
Right, but Trump, typically the candidates or the nominees for each party and they get the security briefing, right? They're supposed to get the national security briefing, and Trump got it, but then he gave it back and said, I don't want to be accused of leaking.
Well, I mean, he could take it or not, but I mean, typically a former president continues to get a briefing every day, except that Biden cut him off and pulled his security clearance.
I've heard him say before that like he doesn't bother too much with the briefings because they're so far. He says his people are getting more relevant information than what he gets from the actual briefing.
Of course, because his old administration. I mean,
well, somebody's got to take the briefing. I mean, whether it's him or whether it's the cabinet members, or I mean, you.
It's not the one that I'm talking about though, but those do happen. I'm talking about like the men in the black suit type of ones where right before they're inaugurated, a few weeks before, they get that one. That's the one they always try to blackmail the candidates for.
Well, they don't get that until
a few weeks.
They get that one when they get the keys to the suitcase. That's
yeah, but they actually try to give it to him like a couple months before, or like at least a month, and that's the one he's like, they can blackmail me on it. It's happened in the past, just not to the Democratic people normally, but they do it to Republicans a lot.
But he's not. I mean, that has nothing to do with the cabinet members.
No. But this was right after the RNC. And they gave him that red folder.
This year?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he became the nominee.
Right, but
he had not been getting briefings because Biden had cut him off.
Right, and then he said, I don't even want this because I don't want to be accused of leaking the information.
All right, well, I mean, that's up to him. He doesn't have to take it. He's entitled to it, though.
Well, they did it to him last time, too. Like, they try to say that, I don't know if it flew, but like they did the same exact thing before he was inaugurated.
I mean, that stuff, I mean, the thing you guys need to understand is Washington is a sieve. I mean, you can have a classified meeting on Capitol Hill, and within 5 minutes after the end of the meeting, it's all over the place. Just depends on what what media source picks it up. Well, up until February of 2020 or 2021, literally nothing ever leaked out of the Supreme Court because they use burn bags.
What happened? They leaked something out of the Supreme Court.
Well, they leaked the decision on
the Dobbs decision
on abortion. We still don't know what happened with that. That investigation is ongoing. I mean, really, each justice gets like 4 clerks. The chief may get 5, and then there are some other employees there in the court, secretaries and what have you. It's a tiny universe. There's not that many people it could be. So you start off with the premise that they're all guilty, and then you eliminate you eliminate who is definitely not guilty.
They're all guilty.
I mean, the working theory is it was one of the 3 or 4 liberal justices.
Brown.
But the other side says it was Alito, but I don't believe that he leaked it.
Well, I think it was the person that couldn't answer what is a woman. So being the first.
She wasn't on the court.
Oh, she wasn't? Oh, dang
it.
So maybe it might have been one of they have like assistants, right? Like kind of staffers, like Congress.
Yeah, they have clerks.
So it could be those people, one of the clerks that leaked it, I think.
But you you have to be really talented to be able to get what they leaked out.
Right, but well, if you're a Republican, you definitely have to be really talented. But Democrats are allowed to do whatever they want.
They basically leaked an entire decision. It's almost unheard of.
Well, it's also
they would have had to fold it up and put it in their underwear and taken it out. As bad as
do that.
Yeah, there was that one guy
as bad as Sandy Berger going to the National Archives, shoving stuff in his sock.
That's exactly
what
people do it.
About.
Well, and also, it's unprecedented to have protesting outside of the Supreme Court justices' houses. That's clearly stated that is a no-no.
Yeah, those people should have been arrested.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I was going to say, welcome everybody. Please repost the space. We're going to have a short space. Probably, maybe we'll go until.
I've talked to people who are protectees for. The people, men and women that provide security to Supreme Court justices on a regular basis. And they're not appreciative of that.
I'm sure not. I wanted to say hi to all of our streamers too on Rumble and Pill.net. Dude, Pill.net, QUX, and Kick.com. What's up, guys? Welcome. And if you guys haven't checked out our new and improved website at AmericanMission.com, please go and check it out. Got lots of fun stuff out there, and it's a good resource.
Yeah, and shout out to Kelly, man, in those streams. She's always awesome. And Kim, I mentioned that Trump movie that I came across today. I found the post for it and I put it up in the nest. There's a 2-minute and 39-second trailer. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
All right, give me a thumbs up if the audio is okay.
I've been posting it in the daily missions. Reminder to bookmark it. It's on the 27th, I think it comes out.
Well, and I was kicking around. I mentioned it to Adam earlier, but Jen and I both, we both late at night download videos off of TikTok that we find, and then we don't go back and look at them. So I was going to go into my late night vault and see what kind of crazy videos I've downloaded, which is where I got that one that Chris shared today.
You know what you can do with all those downloads?
What?
Upload them to QUX. That way they never disappear.
Yes. We got to start doing that.
All right.
And by the way, this is a little way out there, but just so you guys know, what we're doing at QX is so far above and beyond where things are right now. It doesn't matter who wins this election. So keep that in mind with your alignment with us.
I like it. I like it when you tell me that, everything's going to be okay.
Well, it's more than everything's going to be okay. It's part of the reason why I wanted to talk is this whole stupid UN thing. The reality is, if you understand contract law and the Constitution enough, there's never going to ever be a situation where they can force you to get a vaccine because the United Nations said so. The thing that's the most frustrating to me is how do we get people to understand what their rights are? And what I'm thinking is if we just, it's like that show Naked and Afraid. Those are your rights right there. Are you going to let those wild animals eat you, or are you going to eat those wild animals? That's where our rights start and end, is in the decision of whether or not we conquer our environment or if our environment conquers us. And if enough Americans had that understanding of rights, it doesn't matter who's president. It doesn't matter what the UN does. If we all stood on our rights, it's basically law of the jungle. So bring it, motherfuckers. It's that simple.
they still tend to take things away from the regular people to where they can't fight that fight. That's the problem.
Take what away? See, we need to.
So our military, they forced us. They were going to take away our jobs, our livelihoods, and everything. They'll do that to civilians. They've done it to all the nurses and doctors like that refused the vaccine for COVID. It's the same thing. They break people down to where they have nothing left. I mean, some people who are fighters have that ability, and that is amazing. It's great. We support them. But a lot of people don't have it.
Right. And I hear what you're saying. And what I'm saying is very abstract, even though it's the reality. Imagine if the military said, all right, fine, we all quit. Now what? See, and
so we have over 8,000 people that they discharged who are still fighting those cases in court.
No, you needed 25. You needed 250,000 resignations.
They booted them. We don't have the funds and the money. We're not millionaires. We're not rich. We couldn't fight it.
It doesn't have the concept of what Gavin's speaking of.
No, I do.
If we all stand in unison, then they can't do anything.
They can't do anything at all. Like
exactly.
Just like if we all didn't pay our taxes, right? Like it's the same concept. If we all unite and we say, absolutely not, you do not have our consent for this. It is not even questioning. Like that's it.
No, I get that too. Trust me. I'm just talking about the fear is what scares a lot of people because there's a lot of fear.
Yeah, so are we willing to give in to fear to have our children and ourselves enslaved? Like, here's one. How about they just force all of us to get Neuralink and technology that allows us to live forever, so we're the robots that work for the next 1,000 years for free? Like,
we're already in the fucking Matrix.
At what point do we say, fuck you? No. Like that really literally the middle finger needs to be the American symbol, because the problem is if not enough people are willing to just say, I'm not doing it, it doesn't happen. I've caused more change by being one person who's resisting. And if I just had 5% of our population resisting as hard as I have, it'd be a joke. They can't do any of this crap. Everything they're doing is a psyop. The United Nations, 100% psychological warfare to make us believe because a group of tyrants have decided what they're going to do with us, that we have to go along with it. It's like, you know what? I got a shotgun here. Bring it. I'm going to kill someone and someone's going to have to kill me in order to fucking stick vaccines in my children. And if enough Americans just had that attitude, they wouldn't even bother trying. And the funny part is attitudes, most of it. How many guys have gotten out of fights by just posturing that they're tough? I mean, if we Americans could just broaden our shoulders, say, no, we're not doing it, this thing would go away overnight. That's the frustrating part.
That's why Trump works. And, you know, during COVID, when they were talking about mandates this, mandates that, I stated on Facebook, you know, if you want to jab me, you better be ready to put a bullet in my head, you know? Then I put my foot down. And in Florida, we were locked down for 2 weeks. Oh, we had, you know, the lockdowns for 2 weeks. And the people of Florida in unison, county by county, started opening up and said, fuck you, you know, to these mandates. Mandates are nothing but merely a suggestion. They are not law. They're not passed through legislation. You do not need to abide by mandates. Where the problem was, where Biden put the squeeze on, you know, companies. If you have so many employees, they have to get jabbed, this and that. And that was, you know, through the companies, where the people should have fought back to the companies and said, I think we all resign.
Well, and I think that the fact that the government gave the companies immunity when they mandated, so, you know, the government's not liable, the pharmaceutical companies aren't liable, the employers aren't liable, the doctors aren't liable. So nobody is liable for the harm that they caused with that jab.
Except...
Bullshit.
Did anyone go read the immunity clause? Immunity only works if you don't cause injury. And that's the reason why I keep circling back to it's a psyop. I'll tell you what, the most powerful thing, and again, I use traffic court as my, analogy, but it holds true all the way through. Like, for instance, you know why my kids don't have vaccines? Because my wife goes in and says very simply, I will go ahead and allow you to vaccinate my children if I can get you to sign a contract whereupon, if they're injured, you're willing to accept full liability, including my ability to liquidate your home.
Bravo.
And they're like, I'm not fucking doing that. So our response is, so why the fuck should we? So you're not willing to risk your medical license in your home on my children to stick a fucking needle in them? And you know what's crazy? Is when you actually frame it around liability and that they're not willing to take liability, the whole thing changes quick to where they're basically trying to force us to accept injury and liability. And guess what? That is against commerce. And as soon as people fully understand the power of commerce, they can control and own all this bullshit.
I really wish that I would have known the level of just sheer, what do I want to say? Like, just the fact that the CDC and the NIH, all of these guys were just completely and totally corrupt. I was a citizen who thought that these agencies were, advising on the best thing. I mean, what happens when you swallow poison? You call, or what happens when there's some weird, sickness going on? You call the CDC. Like, the fact that these agencies that were put in place to, help us and to protect society are not trustworthy and have been poisoning our children is just really, that's the part that just so frustrating, because had I known, I would not have allowed them to put any shots into my kid. I mean, I was already hesitant when he was born, and they're like, oh yeah, we got to give him his first Hep B shot. I was like, why? He's not having sex and he's not an intravenous drug user. Why are you giving him that? Like, and they were like, if you don't allow us to give him that shot, you cannot be a patient here.
And all you have to do is accept the offer with a counter offer. Okay, I totally accept your offer on the condition, a conditional offer. I'll accept your offer to protect my child under the condition you accept liability for any and all injuries that may occur.
Kimberly, I wanted to say I haven't trusted the medical industry since my dad died in 2002. I can't really talk about it, but I just saw the collusion between doctors and insurance companies and the cost compared to, letting someone, fade away, let's just say. And,
right.
And one last thing is just, with the revolving doors that I've been aware of since back then between the FDA and Big Pharma, Big Agro, and FDA as well. And it's, you're a CEO of Moderna or Pfizer, and then all of a sudden you're seating, the top of the board of FDA, and vice versa, like with Big Agro. So,
right, but most people.
I haven't had trust in any of those bastards for the longest time.
Right, but you're not the norm, right? Because most of our population has been law-abiding. Hey, I do the right thing. I'm
law-abiding.
But you know what I mean? Like they didn't have the experience that you had where you were able to see that, right? So they've had the curtain shut on them, and now they're realizing that they could have severely or permanently damaged their child because people that were screaming about this were being, shamed as being conspiracy theorists and vaccine deniers and, all of this stuff that the government and the media and all of these people were telling us, and basically kicking them out of society. And of course, you're like, well, I don't want to be canceled, and I mean, I don't want my kid to, spread diseases. But like, so there's this level of just sheer corruption and like distrust. Like they broke our trust, and in the most fundamental and egregious way, and yet we have not seen one person be held accountable for it.
Yeah,
That's
Tim,
because we're not the ones holding them accountable, because we haven't mastered how to execute a claim upon which relief can be granted.
Class action lawsuit. Guys.
Yeah, to me, the reality is we just got to get everybody willing to just grow some balls and stand on their rights for a minute. One of the craziest things I ever did was, first thing I did in traffic court to test whether any of this worked was I recused a judge. And that judge was like, I'd arrest you for this, as he was leaving the bench. But what I realized was there's mechanisms in play here that even the powers that be can't say yes or no to. And here's the key. It's liability. The hospitals and the doctors have liability insurance. If you're going to accept any offers from them, get their liability insurance information first and watch how much they squirm. Because here's the crazy part. Do you have to go to a court for liability? No, you don't. It's all arbitration. If you file a claim against an insurance claim, if you file a claim with an insurance company against an injuring party and it's over $50,000 in claim, it cannot be litigated. It has to be arbitrated. And if enough people knew how to go into arbitration with the government would turn around right away and knock this shit off, because they'd realize, holy crap, people understand how to get remedy. We're not going to be able to injure the population because they know how to get remedy.
No, I totally agree. I mean, it's just, it's getting people to stand on the principles and enough people to do it, right? Because you've got to be willing to risk your career and, you know, your livelihood and your home. I mean, so it is a big ask for some people. I know that I was very fortunate in the fact that I did not have to make that decision. I was allowed to, you know, continue with my livelihood and not get the shot. But I have, you know, special circumstances that a lot of people weren't. And I just think that, you know, and I was not injured, so I can't take up that cross. However, I would completely sign, support, whatever I could do for those that have been injured and so badly injured as well.
So it's this simple. All the injured parties have to do is go get the insurance information from the injuring party. It's the same as a car accident. Someone rear-ended me. This is their insurance information. So all you have to do is go to human resources at any hospital or doctor's office and ask for the policy number, the umbrella insurance that they use to cover malpractice. Then you go file a fucking claim. It's really simple. And this is the information they don't want people understanding, because insurance claims is how we get them to stop, because then all of their insurance rates are going to go up. The umbrella coverage for the government can go up. I know somebody that bankrupted Orange County, California by just filing a claim with the insurance. They covered the county, and they had to bankrupt the county because the policy had been tapped out. So they had to reorganize the county with a new policy. We have a lot more power than we realize, and it all has to do with us just invoking and using our rights. And the best analogy, it is a jungle. That is a wild animal over there. Are you going to let it eat you, or are you going to eat it? It's that simple.
And Kim, you know, just because you didn't take the jab or, you know, had family, like, you know, children that took the jab, there's a psychological trauma that we all endured. You know, there's just the overall trauma of the thing that, you know.
I mean, we're still enduring it. I got a text message today offering me the, you know, get my COVID shot with my flu shot from CVS. And I'm like, I posted it.
Isn't that the same shot?
How is this not criminal? How are they still allowed to push this thing when we know for a fact that there is severe and major numbers of injured people?
Well, you'll be happy to know in the state of Florida that the head of your medical, the Surgeon General for Florida,
Dr. Adipo?
has said that they're the only COVID shot that they are going to pay for is Novavax, and they disavow anything that has mRNA. So
I love Dr. Latipo. He was just
they're protecting Florida from mRNA, and that's a good thing.
Latipo was definitely one of those outspoken voices during COVID. He was a warrior, and God bless him and his family.
We need a good analogy for mRNA, and something that I came up with today is medical rape, not again. Like, we need something like that, because if they want to put all the vaccines in mRNA form, like, this is just the most jacked up thing ever. We need to, basically, it's medical rape, and we need to coin that term and stand on it.
I mean, the fact that it breaks through the blood-brain barrier should be something that we don't allow with anything. That is a no-no. I mean, and the fact that it's still not well known that changes your DNA. I mean, I think that people are going to be pretty pissed off when they find out about that.
Friggin' sterilize people, you know? That's eugenics.
Can I say something, Kim?
Sure.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've been trying to wait patiently, and there was a point you were making a little while ago, and I know some of you guys in here, not everybody, but I am military, just recently medically retired, vax injured, everything. Worked with the Secret Service. I disarmed bombs, deployed. I've seen some shit. I've seen a lot of corrupt shit. That's just a quick lowdown. I know some shit. So I'm also in Florida preparing for this hurricane, so I'm sorry I can't interact as much, but I have friends coming soon, and I'm trying to get everything ready for them. But the point that Kim was also saying too, we love you fighters. And if you know Shell on these apps, and I'm sure y'all do, she's the same way. Like, let's all stand up against it. But the point is, a lot of people aren't aware of these things. And that was something that Kim was saying just probably like 10 minutes ago. And what we were trying to say too, they're not aware. They break them down slowly. They put the fear of God in them, not really the fear of God because they're the devils. But they put fear in them. And when you're constantly doing that to people, gaslighting them, putting fear, people don't want to look at this shit. It's too much for them to take. So that's what I was trying to say, that a lot of people just aren't aware. Like, I've sat there and watched the fucking light go out of people's eyes trying to tell them and explain this to them. And it's just too much for some people to handle. That's why I call them brainwashed zombies. Not everyone's brainwashed, but they cannot handle that kind of shit. People do not want to believe that this kind of evil exists in the world. And I know all of you know the type of evil I'm talking about within this Democratic Party. Or,
right,
you know.
If they don't,
I was going to chime in earlier, Kim. I didn't know either. Like, I wasn't aware of everything that I'm aware of now back then in the early days. And at the time, I didn't want to get it because just my natural instinct was kind of pushing back on the idea. But I have a sister who's a lefty, and she has my nephews. And I was told if I wanted to see the boys, I had to be jabbed. So I took 2 shots before I started learning about, all the harms that it's caused people. And I regret that I ever took it. And then I found out, I started down this rabbit hole, and then eventually joined Twitter and learned all this stuff. My whole world has been changed by all this.
Yeah, I go down with stroke-like symptoms several times now throughout the years. It had went away for a little while, switching my diet to keto again, which I don't even want to get into that right now, but it came back with a viciousness. I got another tumor. I do have a history of an aggressive tumor when I was like 26, but like, I'm 40 now. I was perfectly healthy. They fucking jabbed me. I went down like a light within 2 weeks, but so did a lot of the military people that I work with just at this base. And we did not put that shit together for a while because we didn't want to be the conspiracy theorists. We didn't want to say it was that, because if you do, they would take away our rank. They took away our pay. And what I'm saying is, military people, we get paid okay, decently, officers a lot more. We don't get that kind of pay to fight the system. And I wish you could. Like, I'm all for the fighting of the people, but they break people down so hard and so often that people can't afford this. And if you have families and you have mouths to feed, like, that's the fear, which money is the root of all evil.
Think about how they set it up, right? Like, think about the cancel culture that we had for all of the Obama years. And even though Trump had we had those 4 years of Trump in between, it was still like just completely, it was completely ingrained inside. The tentacles were everywhere as far as in our society. The cancel culture was still going on, and it was going on strong. I mean, people who were silent majority were silent because they were scared of losing everything. I mean, right. I remember people not they voted for Trump, but they would not say it because right. They didn't want their businesses wrecked. They didn't want, and that, to me, that right there is not American.
Yeah, I mean, people were losing their jobs not even about the jab. People were losing their job just for having opinions before the jab. I mean, it was insane. People were booted off.
Yeah, and I know a lot of those J6ers, and one of the ones I've been following on here for a good bit is Lieutenant Colonel Brock. He's one of the highest ranking J6ers, and that was an officer that they literally took everything from. Like, he has lost everything, and he has his little space here now. I think it's 12 Eastern, Monday through Friday. But we just go over stupid stuff. But he'll tell you his story. But he lost everything, and he was jailed for 2 years. And you know what the Democrats said? That it wasn't long enough. They said that he didn't fucking serve his time. And they still had the grandmother in jail who was just sitting there doing nothing. Like, they went after people who weren't even in D.C. They were in California. They have gone after anyone that had an opinion on any social media. That's why I kept my mouth shut. I kept it shut literally until the first assassination attempt, because I was like, I can't stand by knowing what I know anymore. But these people were jailed unfairly. They're still fighting it. There's even lawyers, J6 lawyers, that come into those spaces. You should hear them because they have an incredible story to tell, but they will come after you with a vengeance. And that's what scares the fuck out of military people.
How about the fact that the fucking Joint Chiefs are the ones that ran January 6th?
Oh, it makes me sick.
How about the fact that the Joint Chiefs are actually running the country right now, not Biden? No, we had a military coup. We had a full-blown military coup. This is straight up like that. Was it 8th of May documentary movie from like the 1960s? But the crazy part is we still have remedy because it's of the people, by the people, we the people. So what we need to do is figure out how are we going to stand on our rights and get our country back under control. That's the real key here. I mean, go ahead.
That's why I'm all for you guys. Like, we're trying to, and they just did another documentary that they can't get pushed out. I think Shell says she's going to do it on her Shell Shock Thursday, even though the hurricane is literally hitting us then. So I need to ask her about that. So they're pushing that documentary because they literally will refuse to pay them advertisement, but it's real life body cam footage and actual footage that they compiled into this great documentary. We thought it just came out. It's been out since May. Nobody knows about it because they literally have refused them advertising.
Are you talking about the This Is Treason or?
Yes, that one. Exactly. Oh, yes.
I bought that the other day. I still haven't watched it yet, but that is. That's definitely.
I'm gonna cry.
We got to do. We've got to watch that and get that out and get that clipped up and, sound bites from it, because if you guys haven't gone out there to thisistreason.com and signed the petition to make, give the death penalty to child traffickers, I highly recommend you do that. And you can also purchase the documentary, This Is Treason. The first edition is Trafficked, and I think they're getting ready to drop another one in October. So I have not watched it yet, but I have heard nothing but really good things about it.
Yeah, so this one, I don't know if it's that one exactly, but they're both, I don't know if it's the same company, but one is specifically on the J6ers, and I'm talking about, I don't know if you know Tawny, but she literally was crying the whole time after. And I know for me, that's going to trigger the fuck out of me. So I was like, look, I got to be in a good space. I had to have good sleep. But they're even trying to see if, I think it's only $10 if you want to buy it, but they're trying to make it almost free up into the election. They're working with their producers and all that stuff, but that's what she's going to feature. And then the trafficking stuff, Diligent has also featured a lot of that too. I just don't know if it's the same people or if they're just
Yeah, it might
collaborating.
be different. But
Yeah.
definitely get us that information because I definitely want to, or I'll go to Shell's page and see if I can find it.
Kim,
Yeah, I gotta ask her. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
I just want to I wanted to do a couple things here. One, I want to, since we have Gavin here, I hope that you can connect with him and set up another space strictly on QUX. I'm getting ready to purchase it. I want him to give the full rundown of the products, all the things that they've been accomplishing, what's out there, what we can buy, and what it can do for us. I think people should learn about his products in QUX. So hopefully you can connect. I know we don't have time for that today. And then I did want to play that trailer if you want to hear it for the Trump movie.
Yes. Let's go to.
You want me to play it for you?
Wait.
Cyber?
I mean, I got it right here.
Oh, you got it? All right, cool.
Let's go to Falu and then, let's do that. And we can close with Gavin giving us a little brief overview of QUX and all it can do.
If you guys haven't seen SGT report the other day, stuff on the vaccine, and it's not just people who took the jab. They have blood from people who have died 8 months ago, and the stuff is still living in the blood. Blood that hasn't been in the bodies for 8 months, the organisms are still living in there. So basically what they were saying is, even if you didn't take the jab, you still are getting it from people shedding. But the stuff to take, and I've actually been doing this, I didn't get it. My wife got the Johnson & Johnson like an idiot. But I've seen a lot of people that were right at death's door. In fact, I just posted the link up top. We snuck ivermectin and colloidal silver into my sister-in-law's hotel room. Not hotel room, hospital room. She was ready to be intubated, and she was out in like 2 days. And if you take, and I'll post of it, in the documentary, the doctor's name in the SGT report, her name is Anna Mikasia, but I'll post that link too for everyone. And Rolex, I think that was you that was saying that you're having all those issues. This stuff will take it. It shows them actually just putting it in there, and the microorganisms in they call it machines because they're actually glowing light. You can literally see them destroyed in minutes with EDTA and vitamin C. And I was never taking the EDTA, but I was taking zeolite, which is the same thing. It pulls those heavy metals out. But
I've never even heard of that.
Really?
Me neither.
I've
post that.
I've also heard it from Karen Kingston, a friend of mine. The EDTA and zeolite both take out heavy metals like aluminum and things like that, but they don't hurt like silver or copper, which your body needs.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've done the colloidal silver before, but I have not ever heard of that other thing.
Be careful.
Yeah, the colloidal silver is awesome.
You'll end up turning blue if you take.
That's not true.
No.
Honestly, if you guys, I know who you're talking about. That guy's actually on the internet. If you actually read about him on the internet, his whole family have problems with a disease with blood circulation. So they use him about the colloidal silver to say you're going to turn blue if you overdose.
Think about the mythology behind it also. Silver kills vampires or werewolves, right?
All right, we're not going to go to conspiracy now, but okay. I took colloidal silver for years and years and years.
Yeah, me too.
Nothing wrong with colloidal silver. Trust me.
No,
Alex Jones.
Me too, but I've never heard of the. I'm going to send you a message because I have colloidal silver.
Yeah, please. Anyone. I've been like giving it to. I manage truck dealerships. Like I'm a district manager. I have like 5 states. I have people at dealerships that have been literally at death's door, wives freaking out, afraid to call the ambulance because they didn't want their husbands going ER. I mean, and literally they had one guy I think his oxygen was at 64. Within 1 day of the ivermectin, it was at 95. I mean, this stuff works insanely fast. And the ivermectin and the horse paste, I take it all the time. I've had COVID like 3 times. It works awesome. But if for the shedding too, if you take, Mike Adams talked about it, fennel seeds. It's $1 at the grocery store, a bottle of fennel seeds, like fennel sausage. it literally stops the shedding. I work at a company that everybody has been vaccinated except maybe 3 of us. We refused it. It got to close to the legal issues right before the Supreme Court kicked in, or else I would have been going to court over it. But I sit in these rooms with these people, and in minutes, I'm feeling like, just like I had COVID, you know, the headaches, the aches, the hot sweats, multiple times. As soon as I take fennel seeds, I just put like the size of a quarter in my hand and chew them. It's gone in minutes. And I guess there's something in fennel that is called shikimic acid. It's the same stuff in Theraflu. So it works super fast. Like this is kind of crazy how nuts everything is. And if you watch this this lady who was on the SGT report, I mean, it looks like we're all going to die in a couple of years if you don't do something, because these things continue to build in the blood nonstop. You know, like the wormy stuff that's in people's veins when they die. Well, they show that we all have it.
I've never heard of fennel seeds. I you know, you gave me credit for it, but you know, it's not that I've never heard of them. I've used them for cooking, but
oh yeah.
What I suggested was like originally is oil of oregano. You put that on your tongue, you breathe in the vapors, and it opens. See, the problem was with COVID, right, or the flu, with modified genetically modified, you know, spike protein added to it, was basically that the problem wasn't that you weren't getting oxygen to the lungs, right? Oxygen was getting to the lungs, but your papules were not absorbing them. So the problem was it was blocking the, you know, your internals of your lungs, like the bronchioles and all of that stuff, from being able to absorb the oxygen. So it wasn't getting the oxygen to the lungs issue. It was the lungs being able to absorb the oxygen and bring it into the body. So them shoving tubes in people's throats essentially was assisted suicide.
Well, it's white blood cells. It's the blood cells that can't absorb the oxygen.
That crap. Where I woke up one morning from COVID flu, right, back in March 2020, could not breathe. I woke up, I was like gasping for breath, like I couldn't breathe at all. I ran to my kitchen. I grabbed some of that oil of oregano tincture, dropped some under my tongue, breathed in the vapors, and instantly, I swear to God, it was like a miracle. I was like just able to breathe instantly. And that was just something simple as oil of oregano. Now, their EUA is illegitimate, and I believe these bastards should get sued to hell. I want Nuremberg 2.0. You know, the things that they put us through, where they blackballed ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. And even if you didn't want to use ivermectin, White Hat has suggested wormwood. Wormwood is where they derive ivermectin. So you could get that from, like, you know, your nature store.
I don't think that's true, to be honest. I'm not sure about that one. Ivermectin came from dirt somewhere in Japan, and they've never been able to duplicate the sample they got it from.
They get it from I looked into it a little bit.
The ivermectin that you get today is all made from that original sample. I mean, if they did get it from where would that make? Yeah, it's nuts too. You can't figure out how it even works. But I just posted a couple of pictures with comments in there. Feel free if any of you want.
Can I ask a quick question?
Quick question. Hold on one second. Do me a favor. Go ahead and look up wormwood, and then look at the properties of wormwood and what it does. And I promise you it'll match up very similar to ivermectin, because I actually looked up wormwood because White Hat brought it up to me, and I saw the breakdown of what it does for you. It's antiviral, antimicrobial, kind of like oil of oregano as well.
Well, but, a lot of stuff is like that. The silver's like that too. Silver, green tea, peppermint. A lot of that is. The thing about ivermectin, though, it does something in your cells. Garlic too. It does something in your cells electrically, and I've watched so many videos on it, and I wish somebody could explain it to me, because it is very hard to explain what it actually does. But it literally changes electricity in things that are not supposed to be in your body. So basically, the easy way that they say it is, it stops the proliferation
Yeah.
Right.
It essentially collects all of the bad stuff and like allows your body to express it.
Right. It doesn't let you duplicate the bad stuff. I have a tumor on my dog that I've given this stuff to, and mushrooms and ivermectin, and the tumor's disappeared on my dog's face that was supposed to be operated on. I mean, it's nuts.
I'm gonna message you so much. I got a question though, like serious question. Serious question, because I have not looked at this. I'm sorry, and it may sound stupid, but the ivermectin paste versus, you know how it's so hard to get a hold of any other version of it. Can you take the paste? And
the paste is the best. The paste is the best version, and I'll tell you how to get it. My wife rides horses.
No, I have some, but I'm wondering how much do you take and stuff? Like, what's safe?
So, all ivermectin is by weight, and that's the lie. So I've taken the pills.
Not medical advice. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I'm not a doctor. I'm in technology. I'm not a doctor, but I also I actually, my job is to actually find problems and see things like differently. I'm an analyst, so I dive into this stuff. The ivermectin paste, there's ivermectin liquid, which is called sheep drench, which is the first thing I took, and I give my dog sheep drench, and it's the reason why I really started believing into it, because I took some once when I was feeling sick. My wife didn't. We had our antibodies tested. She had COVID. I was perfect. And they said there was nothing in my system that well, it was lockdown, and we weren't around anybody else, you know? So once that happened, I started taking, and that's what I had sent to my sister-in-law, which I posted the link either in the, or up top. It's actually up top. That's my sister-in-law that we snuck the ivermectin and the colloidal silver in her hospital room, and you can see what within 2 days she was out, and they had double pneumonia. They wanted to open up her lungs to drain her lungs. They wanted to intubate, and it was Chicago. You could not see her. My brother-in-law put colloidal silver and ivermectin in a Jamba Juice and gave it to the front desk, and they said they didn't know what was going on with her, but her body was just kicking its butt. And the next day they sent her home. And she said, well, I wonder if I took ivermectin, if that would work. And they said, oh, no, you can't take ivermectin. That would hurt you. And I told her, keep your mouth shut, because if you're taking something else, they might not release you. But I'm sorry if I missed what you were saying too. You asked specifically about the ivermectin. The paste.
I was asking like how much you can take and stuff.
Well, here's a couple of things. You can take the paste by weight, but if there's another website or actually is a site on Telegram. It's called Dirt Road Discussions, and if you message me, I'll send it to you. The guy started taking ivermectin for something he saw in the package that he couldn't afford. And everybody goes on there and talks about how much they take and all the diseases it's cured. If you start looking up the diseases and things for ivermectin and cancer, it cures basically everything. But the paste compared to the pills and compared to the liquid is way, way, way better. If I take the paste, it is gone in like 2 days. I'm feeling good, or within 1 day. The liquid is like a little bit longer, but it's still pretty strong. The pills literally is over 10 days. So I would highly recommend the paste over anything, and it's $7. And I have taken, just to prove that it's safe, because I had so many people argue with me. I literally took the whole entire syringe at one time once, and it did nothing. I felt a little dizzy for 1 day. And that's basically as much as you give like a 2,000-pound horse. I'm 6'3", 250. So you can easily not worry about overdosing on it. But I would say if you're sick, take your weight plus maybe 50%. But every day I take just like a pencil eraser type, like every day, every couple days.
I've heard that it works wonders for any sort of cancer or any sort of virus. And I mean,
well, here's the proof. My wife.
I'd suggest don't look at your stool after.
I don't know. I don't do that. I haven't seen it different.
Advice, and it just so we know, this is not medical advice to anybody out there listening. We are just having a conversation.
Yep.
So my wife goes to a gym called Orange Theory with her friends. I don't know if anybody knows what Orange Theory is. They basically measure you by colors of how you're working out. Orange is the color you try to be in. If you're in orange or red, you get points, and it's basically a measure of.
Good.
Basically, it's a measure of your VO2 index. So oxygen burns fat, right? Well, oxygen in your red blood cells is what the thing like on your Apple Watch or stuff like that, that's what it's picking up. Well, I hate cardio. I played football. Cardio was a punishment. So I do weights and stuff like that. But
Me too.
after lockdown, I probably hadn't done cardio in probably 2 years. Well, Orange Theory is basically cardio and weights. They measure everybody in the place. So you get splat points for every time you're in the orange, and it measures calories. So you have points and calories. Her normal with her friends who work out all the time was like 14 points. And they maybe burn 100 calories maybe. I went to the thing the first time. There was 50 people in the class. The only thing I was doing differently was just taking ivermectin every couple of days. My oxygen in my cells, it was my VO2, it threw my VO2 index off the chart at 50 splat points, and these people had 10 or 15, and I burned almost 500 calories. I was in the class. I had never worked out in the gym or done cardio there ever. I had done cardio in 2 years. But just the amount of oxygen in my body was picking up on the sensor of the thing was crazy. I was like number one in the class.
Well, you know, the sad thing is that it's so cheap too.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why they'd rather you pay $2,000 for a bag of remdesivir and kill you of toxicity, and then pay $7 for or $1 for ivermectin. But feel free if anybody wants info, I'll share my info through message. Happy to do so.
Hey, Fallu.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I've got to jump in here real quick.
Man,
Something that is no, you're good. But look, I love old sci-fi radio. I do. 1930s, 40s, fantastic stuff. And what's crazy is I keep hearing these ads for this bromoquinine cold tablet. Can anyone here guess what bromoquinine cold tablets?
I take
from the
no idea.
Ivermectin?
No.
Quinine is hydroxychloroquine. That's quercetin.
Gavin, I take something called bromelain. Is that the same thing?
No, what I'm getting at is they discontinued bromoquinine in 1970 whatever when they started bringing all the vaccines in. And what's
Clinton got rid of quinine too. Clinton's also stopped it.
Yeah. No. What's insane is
that's odd.
We literally come from a generation of badasses that got hobbled, and here we are being spoon-fed bullshit. That if you just go back like a couple generations and just listen to the ads, you can hear the remdesivir and all this stuff. These were things that were normal 80 years ago, and that's what's crazy.
Well, I remember quinine. They gave you quinine. Hang on. They gave you quinine, and they gave you hydrochloroquine whenever you were going to be traveling to a country that had prevalent
malaria.
Yeah.
It's like, what a fucking joke, right?
My mom drank tonic water.
Yes, I keep it in the house on stock.
Yeah,
All right, let's let the Highlander go. Go ahead, Highlander.
So my grandparents weren't for all that shit. They're healthy as a horse, man. So is my great grandma, and my great grandpa all the way until he died. So
they hide our history.
It sucks. We're at a very like a pivotal point in our health. There's so many people that have health problems, and our young generation has a crap ton of health problems. I'm lucky. I'm not one of them, but where did he go? Fallu. I wanted to ask you about something. Have you ever heard of Nation Health MD? Fallu?
No,
FALU.
He's done, I guess. Is anybody?
Yes,
anybody
I'm here.
Heard of it?
Yeah, Nation Health MD.
Have I heard of it?
Yeah. Have you?
I'm not health. I'm not sure. I've heard of the ones that were all real popular, like the Clay Clark stuff, but I'm not health.
Got a life extension.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I'm asking because look, I got this stuff. Just, I mean, not going go. Nation Health MD has it's cleanse 24. Supports natural digestive cleansing, and it has pretty much everything you guys were talking about in it. It has black walnut, it has oak leaf, garlic.
Yeah.
It has alma extract. It has sweet wormwood powder, turmeric.
What it is that
pain.
we can find everything to cure us.
See, the black walnut and the what's it called? The wormwood is the combination that they mostly sell. The four things that I mainly use: bromelain, I have vitamin D3, zinc caps, and nattokinase. That's what
Gotta throw some quercetin in there.
Right on.
Yeah, and the oil of oregano. But
that's what Trump took.
On some of that wormwood and black walnut. That's the next thing I'm ordering to help with the de-cleansing of the spike proteins.
All right,
even though I didn't take any jabs.
I didn't know that this was going to turn into a health space, but I did want to. I wanted to call on the thinker because she's had her hand up for a bit, and I don't like it. Her hand is up.
All right, let's do the thinker's hand, and then let's play Michael's video.
Yes, please.
Hey, hey, Kim. Hey,
hi, thinker.
Hey, I just wanted to share. Somebody was asking. One of the ladies was asking how to get the ivermectin pills. I have been getting them for years. And if you go to drstellamd.com, she is the African Christian lady. She's American.
She's always in spaces. I love Dr. Stella.
Yes. So drstellamd.com. She has really good natural products, but you can easily, you can get the ivermectin, the hydrochloroquine. You can get, I like her COVID Light.
Salves and all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, I like her COVID Light. Her COVID Light. So it's like a powder drink and you drink it like every day. So every day I drink a scoop of the COVID Light in my water. And then I drink a scoop of, she has something called Viral Immune Plus. And the Viral Immune Plus, that stuff can kill, what is it? It can kill, not that one, the other one, the one, it's almost like the bubonic plague. What is? No, it's
tuberculosis.
It's one worse than that. The one they have in Africa.
Ebola.
Ebola.
Yes, Ebola. It can kill Ebola and everything else. So if it's really good.
Isn't Ebola parasitic?
It kills all of that is what I'm saying. The Viral Immune Plus kills everything. So what you do, she has these packages where you can get like the ivermectin and the hydrochloroquine like packages. She also has packages where you can get all the antibiotics, but she has the natural packages where you can get the COVID Light and the Viral Immune. If you take like the COVID Light and the Viral Immune, COVID Light has the quercetin. So the quercetin has the quercetin plus the zinc. And so the zinc helps the quercetin get in your cells. So if you take that COVID Light and Viral Immune every day, you don't have to worry about getting sick.
So the similar one that's like that is D3. So if you take D3 and you're not taking K2, then they are not working really. They react on each other. The quercetin and the zinc do the same thing. So
yeah, so that's what I do. My mother is over 80 years old, and ever since like the last 4 years, like I had my mom taking it and everything. She's, let me tell you something. When my mom, before she started taking that stuff, she's over 80 something. They told her, oh, your her numbers in her kidneys or something, the creatinine, she had creatinine or something in her kids. So they were like, oh, we got to monitor your creatinine. She started taking that stuff. She went back to the doctor. They were like, oh, this number's good. That number's good. This number is good. Like they said, what did you do? She was like, I've been living with my daughter. And so ever since she takes all that every day, my husband and I take it. Oh yeah, Coviveets. My husband just showed me. There's another one called Coviveets. COVID. It's like VITS, CoviVeets. So the CoviVeets are the actual pills with the quercetin in it. So between those three, CoviLite, CoviVeets, and Viral Immune, you take that every day. No, I mean, people around me have COVID. In my job, I travel all the time. They call. We had a whole outbreak of COVID like 3 weeks ago. Everybody was like, "Why are you not sick?"
You mean the flu? No.
Yeah, but I'm saying, you know, they call it COVID. But I'm saying they literally look bad, sound bad. It's horrible. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
So,
One last thing I
Stella.
wanted to add to that was black seed oil. It's called it comes from curcumin.
Curcumin, yes.
Curcumin, yes. And it's a Middle Eastern thing. They'll say that it'll kill anything, but it kills everything but death, or something. It cures everything but death.
I love it that you
Something
take
along
life.
that line. Like, it is that good.
I love it that you use life extension, Adam, because that's what I use.
Yeah, I mean, that's where my brother gets his stuff, is bromelain, and
Yeah,
what's the other thing? We get the zinc caps from there.
Yeah, my dad was
Adacanase we get from Doctor's Best.
My dad is a chiropractor, so we've always taken supplements in my house. Like, it was a thing. And about 10 years ago, my friend got diagnosed with cancer, and she knew that my dad was, all into supplements and all that kind of stuff. So she called him and she's like, okay, what do I need to take in order to help, reduce this cancer? And he gave her quercetin and berberine, which is elderberry.
Elderberry, yep. That's during my mother's cancer treatment. She unfortunately, I was like, it's your choice whether you take chemo or not. I personally wouldn't do it myself, but it's up to you, and it's what your doctor suggests. So, that's your personal decision.
Again, that's that whole.
She went through that, but I made sure that she took RSO, Rick Simpson oil, which helped protect her cells from the chemo. Right. That's one thing that's been proven medically.
I mean, the treatment of cancer is the
and then she had the black seed oil as well that helped. And basically, what she went through a mastectomy through breast cancer, and then she went into thyroid cancer, where both, like, a thyroid is like a butterfly kind of. There's two sides of it, and they said both sides were cancerous. They were worrying about metastasizing, and what they did, they took out the first half, and she started taking the RSO because it became legally in Florida medicinally. So by the time she got on it and she got to taking it, they went to take out the second half of her thyroid. Instead of just testing it first, they just took it out, because they previously knew months or whatever long ago, when they took the first half out. They took it out, and it was negative for cancer.
Yeah, the moral of the story is that we have definitely got to stop listening to these medical experts.
But I'll tell you the one last thing here. They were supposed to monitor her liver during the chemotherapy. They didn't do that, and now she's dealing with non-fatty liver disease. So
milk.
There's one thing called soursop. Have you heard of the soursop leaves?
Yeah.
Soursop. You heard of that?
Milk thistle. Yeah, she takes milk thistle.
Milk thistle. Not
guava.
Milk thistle. No, not that. It's just pure soursop leaves. Yeah. Soursop leaves. So you buy the soursop leaves. SOURSOP.
Yeah, I know soursop.
And so what you do is you buy the ones. I'm just telling for people who are all on the phone listening to, you buy the ones and you take a few of them and you boil them in like a tea, and you drink a little bit of tea, like 3 ounces a day for about 7 days. But you get the right soursop tea and you drink that for about 7 days, stay off of it, drink it a little bit more. My mother-in-law, she was, anyway, it shrunk her tumors, her breast tumors that she had in like 2 weeks or something, 2 or 3 weeks. So soursop. There's also
the leaves though. Hold on.
Yeah, the leaves. It's the leaves,
not the soursop.
Yeah, that's why I said boil the leaf. Boil the leaves.
Okay,
boil the leaves. When you get them, get the nice thick big ones. boil the leaves, and then drink 3 ounces. It'll tell you, how many, depending on the size of the leaves. It'll say boil 5 of them or 7 or 15 on the pack. And then just drink a little bit, a day, 3 ounces a day, 7 days, stay off of it, but don't just drink big cups of it, 3 ounces a day. Those soursop leaves are really good.
Sorry, Thinker. I just wanted to clarify that it was the leaves, not the soursop, because I know soursop is, there's claims that it helps.
Yeah, she said leaves,
cancer.
Adam.
What?
She said leaves to begin with.
Oh, okay. Just to clarify to people.
So other thing is there is a mushroom for the liver. I don't remember what it is. It's expensive and it's Japanese.
Lion's mane.
It's Japanese, and I don't remember the name of it, but I can find out from my neighbor because her brother has liver tumors, and it has kept him completely healthy since he started taking it.
They come from the cordyceps. I posted a picture of that along with the ivermectin, actually. That's what took the tumor off my dog's nose.
Awesome. All right. So listen, I got one more remedy, then we'll go to Chris.
Quick question. Is it maitake and lion's mane?
No.
No? Okay.
No, he put him up in the nest. Falu did.
Yeah, they're the purple pill. I'm not sure if I can't see them in the nest, but I do know they're in the pill.
Okay. So one more thing from me, and then we'll go to Chris, and then we'll do the audio. If you experience gout, black cherry extract, you can either get the liquid form and add a little capful to your water bottle, so you get your water in and you get the black cherry extract, or you can just take the pills. It is like immediate cure for gout. So anybody suffering with that is a nice little remedy. Of course, not medical advice. Not medical. I was getting there. I was going there. This is not medical advice. Try it out. If if you have a reaction, call your doctor. Go, Chris. Get me out of trouble, Chris.
Yeah, so, not to pander to the pharmaceuticals or anything, but occasionally they get it right, especially when they make something for pets called fenbendazole, sold under the brand name Panacure. And they are doing studies at some of our more famous university medical centers because many people are being cured of cancer from taking Panacure, which they are picking up from their local pet stores and farm implement places.
I mean, how fucked up is that? That the pets get better treatment.
Well, there's a human version of it too, but it's cheaper if you can buy it on Amazon, and they'll ship it to you, and you take two pills a day, and you're pretty much good to go.
What do you think PetSmart's going to say when I go in there and I'm like, I need some horse paste, some Panacure, and also I want to chip my teenager? Can you do all three?
You're on a watch list.
It's dewormer for dogs, basically, and there's significant testimonials from lots of folks who have had as bad as stage 4 lung cancer, who've defied all odds and use this and are now cancer free. So if you've got stage 4 lung cancer, what do you got to lose, right? And so I have friends who have had friends that have taken this who have had cancer, and they have they have been cured. And so
yeah, that's basically ivermectin. Fenbendazole is in some of the forms of ivermectin. It's $7 a tube.
yeah. So this is a pill form, and you can get it on Amazon. So
how much is it?
It's not that expensive. Let's see. Look it up.
I got ripped off for my bug out medical kit.
That's what I was getting at. I mean, they're hundreds of dollars.
Didn't you?
All those pills are hundreds of dollars, and I'm telling you, the pills are like a 10-day taking time. The paste you can take in 2 days, and I've taken them all. I've taken the pills from the doctor, I've taken the paste, and I've taken the liquid. And you can tell the amount of ivermectin in it because it says a percentage. Try it out and see. But I'm telling you, if you get every time I go to Farm and Fleet with my wife, we buy a case of it just to throw it in the closet, because during COVID, the ones that were $7 for one tube were $35 on Amazon, and everybody was out.
And I still can't get my doctor to prescribe ivermectin.
You can get
I'm going to get me a whole.
You get 444 milligram 90 count, which is 45-day supply for $74. But that's just
I'm always a tincture. I'm always a tincture, a powder, or a paste kind of person, because I feel like it activates quicker than when.
I don't know why. Yeah, the paste has been really crazy.
They have powder available.
Another thing too, when Farm and Fleets are out, the one place we always get it, there's something, and I don't know if anybody knows what animals are, but there's something called a tack supply, TACT, tack, like horse tack, and they carry horse supplies. If you were to just Google it, you can find them anywhere, and that's a really cheap place to get them too.
All right, one of y'all. Hang on. I need to get Bree up here, and one of y'all that I have sent the co-host invite to like a million times. One of y'all needs to accept that. No,
the paste is available also on Amazon. Okay. For horses. It's only $6.99. So,
Chris or Thinker.
All right, I'll take it. Let me get in on my phone or whatever. I can't. I'm on my computer, so I can't see it on my computer.
Thinker.
Let me get on the phone and I'll take it. Just a second.
All right. Because Bree called me. Oh no, Bree's up there.
I haven't been looking down, Kim. I'm sorry.
Your space is not exactly accessible on the computer. So
I can do it, Chris. I can help, but I just haven't been looking at my phone.
I have wanted to get Bree up here, but she's up here because before this space started, Bree gave me a little ringy ding and told me some really interesting information. So we're going to kind of shift.
She's got farm animals. She got weird stuff going on.
Yeah. One thing, real quick, Kim.
You got the
that link that you put up there with Dr. Stellar. Was you trying to find the other Dr. Stellar?
That's Dr. Stella, isn't it?
No, that's not her. That's another one. I'll put the real one up there. All right.
I'm up.
Okay.
I'm on my phone now.
All right. All right. So, anyways, what I was saying is that before I started this space, Bree gave me a call and was telling me about some really, really scary stuff that's going on in New Mexico that she wants to bring everybody's attention to, and also maybe get some research help.
Please come up and scare us, Bree.
Well, it's actually an opportunity, honestly. But there's two of the largest forage owners. So these are rangelands that predate the state of New Mexico. They go back to the 1967 Homestead Act. They've been, these two allotments of land or whatever have been in these families since way back then. So the Federal Forestry Service has been redefining land use over the last 3 decades. And fast forward, long story short, on October 8th, they are going to be impounding the cattle of a family by the last name of Kit Laney. So Paul and Ben Luna know more about this story. I'm coming in on the heels of things, trying to get updated very quickly. But it is my understanding that both of these families have nearly cookie cutter cases where the Federal Forestry Service, so they have thousands of acres, by the way, and the Federal Forestry Service was sued by an environmentalist group called the Centers for Biological Diversity. The federal government acquiesced and decided to make rules around how many cows you could have per acre in this specific area. So it went initially from Delaney's being able to have 2,011 head down to 300 head. Now they're saying they can have 0. So it's obviously not about an environmental issue or being able
and
to.
It's their land, right, Bree?
It is their land. Yeah. So that's the thing. This is very different from the case out of South Dakota where the USDA is going after ranchers for a fence line dispute because the USDA is claiming that their fence line cuts into federal land. This is actually an issue where the federal government is telling private cattle ranchers how they can actually use their property. So completely different scenario. And potentially a very good opportunity to push back on the administrative state, given the recent overturning of Chevron deference. So this could potentially be a very important case for land rights if enough people get involved and understand the parameters about this case. So what I'm hoping for is that the American Mission crowd can help do some research. I'll put up the exact area in New Mexico where this land is. I have a feeling that there is either a contract for an NAC, like a natural asset company, or some type of something else happening besides, and my horse agrees, other than just, we're going to decide arbitrarily that you can no longer graze cattle on your property. I think that there's most likely something else happening where perhaps the federal government could make money off of someone else's private property, and therefore they will seek to seize it instead of, paying fair use or anything of that sort. So I'm hoping for some help with some research.
Isn't that kind of tantamount to the housing soldiers in your house sort of thing? We're on a slippery slope there where if you can't graze cattle on your own property, the Fourth Amendment is being like tossed completely.
Does the FDA have a say? Do they regulate personal property like that if you're selling it?
It's farmland, right, Bree? I mean, this has been
This is agricultural land. It's been farmland for since before the state of New Mexico was even formed.
Yeah, I mean that's like telling you, okay, your 50 acres here has been zoned C8, okay, and you build a car lot, and all of a sudden you can't sell used cars. You can only sell new cars.
Right, but think of the legal aspects. And that's what I'm wondering. If you're selling stuff to food places, and I only think of this because I manage chicken farms too, and beef. But if you're selling those things and the FDA has a say in the sale of them or regulating that, I'm curious to know how much of a say they have on regulation of the property that those things come from. Because I know like the seeds for planters, if they're organic, non-organic, they have regulations for that too in the GMOs. It sucks, but I think it's true to a point.
Well, what Bree's trying to get at here is that the Supreme Court, in its infinite wisdom, thanks to Justice Gorsuch, who is a brilliant man, and led the fight with the Chevron case, has given the opportunity to the American people to tell our agencies to go screw themselves with these ridiculous regulations. And this is another case where they have decided that they're going to overstep and hope that nobody takes a look at the Federal Register and it just passes right through. And now all of a sudden they have an administrative law. And, this kind of thing just has to stop, because these federal agencies are not, we didn't elect them. We elected Congress. And if Congress cannot write laws that are clear enough that they can't be understood in their black and white form, that the agencies have to go out on their own and create new laws in order to implement what Congress has written, then there shouldn't be the law that Congress wrote in the first place. The President of the United States is the Chief Executive of the United States, and he swears an oath that he will take care to execute the laws which are passed by Congress, not by the administrative state.
And uphold the laws of the Constitution, right?
The administrative state is the purview of the president. So, the president is executing the laws passed by the Congress. He doesn't get to change the laws passed by the Congress. He doesn't get to twist them into pretzels and then execute them.
Yeah, but if you broke the law to get into the office, you can do whatever you want.
That's not.
I think Gavin's method of we got to stand up and go, absolutely not. Like, enough people need to be like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? We have 325,000 missing children that nobody's freaking wanting to talk about. We've got, 22 million freaking illegals into our country. Our president has been shot at twice, or, attempted, right? I mean, there's so much. And it's like, when are we going to be like, enough is enough?
Well, we have, I think, what Bree's looking for here is she's looking for some support, which I think is something that we, can get behind, to try to take
little research,
a deep dive into this, and to, and then, once we figure out where we can go with it, then to browbeat the powers that be, which is what we're really good at. And, get us something to one of our email addresses, Bree, because, putting something down the pill is not really going to get it for something.
Yeah, I'm putting it on the list. Bree, I was watching, the hearing where the EPA was testifying, or the IG for the EPA was testifying. And one of the senators was questioning him, and he was talking about how that he had heard that there are criminal the criminal arm of the EPA had weapons that most military troops didn't have, or units. And then also that the EPA has formed its own bank with $23 billion seeding of money or some craziness like that. And that the EPA has so much money that they've got to spend. And it was at the time 11 days before the end of the fiscal. And this guy was terrified because he said that the criminal arm of the EPA is very hostile and does not let him investigate. And they're armed to the teeth. So it's like we've got a a cartel running our EPA right now. Do you hear anything about that?
They're called lobbyists.
Bree, you're on mute.
I'm sorry. I did. I got all that. I was answering you as I was wrapping a hoof. Sorry about that. Yeah, I was just thinking in my head, holy moly, that's incredible. Where was that testimony given?
It was this congressional hearing. I've got it. It's in my highlights tab. Actually, it's pinned to my page. And these people, well, so there was two different hearings. There was one that was the EPA hearing, and the other one was, I want to say the FCC. It was one of the other agencies, and they had four witnesses that testified, three of which were from the Heritage Foundation and were co-authors on the Project 2025. But yeah, they knew their shit. Like they everything that they said, I agreed with 110%.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense too. But holy moly, yeah, if you could send me that, I would be very interested to listen to that testimony.
It was a riveting, it was about an hour and 45 minutes or so. It was one of the ones where they didn't have breaks in between; they just went. So it's worth the watch. Right, but this guy was shaking in his boots. All right, I'm so sorry, Mike. Do you want to play that thing now?
We want to get a Bumble real quick.
Oh, Bumble. I'm sorry, you're down at the bottom of my screen.
Thank you for not forgetting about me. And Kim, please mind your luxury emotions. We don't want your blood pressure going through the roof. Anyways, so I'd like to address what's happening with Bree on a kind of a larger extent with the kind of, well, anyways, the whole idea here is, if you haven't picked up on this, is the climate sham. They're going to use the climate sham, and then they're going to go after private landowners who they deem are improperly regulated, which was important that we got the Chevron deference through, but that's just the start. So they're going to use the climate sham to create new bogus industries like carbon capture. And I think we kind of nipped that in the bud because we sounded off about it earlier this year. So now they're moving on to something else. And maybe I'll approach that in a minute. But what they do is they get these lands that they deem as improperly regulated, and then they seize the land, the private land, under eminent domain, so they can institute these bogus industries. Like I said, carbon capture. So somehow, it's like playing whack-a-mole. You hit their thing, and you beat it back. But then it pops up somewhere else under a new name. So recently today, or yesterday, they're at it again. They're talking about the climate accords and getting back into the Paris climate accords. And now they have a new climate clock that's supposed to come to fruition in June of 2029. And if we don't agree to what they propose, they're just going to mandate it and ram it down our throats. So the fight is never over. It's ongoing. They just changed the name of things, but they keep pushing the same agenda. And it's all a bunch of shit. Thank you.
Do I hear some luxury? Adam, do I hear some luxury emotions in there, Bumble?
No, I'm stoic. You know I'm stoic. I notice, but I don't react. But when my friends are concerned and I see them twisted out by the pool, all jacked up in their luxury emotions, it's my duty to point that out to you, Kim, because I love you.
Well, listen, I am definitely not wrapped up in my luxury emotions because I know and I am very new to it, but I have learned one thing through my adventures into Christianity is that somebody else is in control. So I am just pissed off and enjoying it because I know that good always wins. And you can have luxury emotions as long as you know that. So
that's right, Kim. Because everybody knows that no matter what happens, we have Jesus in our bullpen.
So right. All right. So I wanted to say, gosh, it was about the climate thing. Dang it, Bumble. I wanted to tell you something. Oh, we always have to be watching for the NACs to pop back up because those little suckers were really maniacal. And when I was talking to Bree earlier, I said to her, I said, it's like since this Chevron deference, they are like on hyperdrive to like get as many rules passed so that they can, land grab as much as they possibly can before, Trump gets in there. If he gets in there, it's sort of like they're just at a DEFCON 10 level of craziness. They're just trying to make as much of a mess as possible so that Trump spends all 4 years trying to untangle their shit show. I say we just declare bankruptcy and start over. I mean, everybody else gets to declare bankruptcy. Why can't we declare bankruptcy?
No, but isn't that our job? To keep the issues on the forefront so that we knock them all back. And then when Trump gets in, he doesn't have to deal with it. So I mentioned something earlier about the climate clocks. And there's a new thing that they're coming. I think it was just yesterday or today. Something about blue hydrogen or green hydrogen or whatever. And so they're looking at the airplane industry that's supposedly depositing chemtrails. But the reality is they don't need the airline industry to do that anymore. Smokestack pollution from ordinary industry is already doing that. And all the blue hydrogen, green hydrogen proposals are to fly into cloud areas where where it has most concentration and just disperse water vapor so that stuff all gets sent down to the earth. So that's the new scam.
Well, let me help you out, Bumble, and let our listeners know that typically when Bumble talks about something, like 2 weeks later, you like read an article about it, and you're like, yeah, I think Bumble pretty much mentioned that. So I would take what he says to heart. Our chief Fed sniffer. I'm going to get you a badge, Bumble. All right, Michael, you ready?
Yeah, and I mean, this was from like 30 topics ago, so I think your title is appropriate today.
Exactly.
But just to remind you what I was going to play is Trump put out a tweet today. The real Donald Trump account has a link to a website. He has a new movie. It looks like it costs $10. You can order it now. But he has a 2-minute, 39-second trailer on the website. There's never before seen interviews with about 30 different people, including, Trump, Vance, Vivek, Tulsi, all these people. So anyway, I'll just kick it off here. Let me know if the audio is okay.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers. I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Kamala definitely covered up his cognitive decline, and it was a rapid decline.
When Joe Biden and Kamala Harris came into office, they inherited peace and prosperity. All they had to do was nothing, just not screw it up.
I am radical. I do believe that we need to get radical.
We went from safe streets to record crime.
Are you for defunding the police? How are you define the police?
We went from $2 gas to $4 gas.
Would you ban offshore drilling? Yes. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking.
We went from stable prices to record inflation.
They're killing us without killing us. That is called Bidenomics.
The very first task that Joe Biden gave Kamala Harris was to be the border czar.
Do you plan to visit the border? Not today.
She's not going to have any border security. I want a number. How many people have you let into this country? Does anybody know? No.
We're in the middle of a war in this country. It is a war between those of us who love the United States of America and a fringe minority who hates this country and what we stand for.
We gotta let people know who brung it to them.
Raise your anything, President. Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family. All right, so that is everybody.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but the audio is getting real choppy.
Afghanistan, yes. Were you the last person in the room?
Hold on. It got funky?
Yeah, it got real funky, like warbly. Maybe is your microphone on standard on your phone?
On my phone?
Hold, please, everybody.
It's just a speakerphone on my phone.
Right. When you pull down from the top right, top right, you'll see the microphone thing, and it'll tell you if it's on standard or wide sound or something like that. Oh wait, you have Android, don't you? Ugh.
Yeah. Yep.
I can't.
So I'll take it back a bit and start it again, and just let me know.
I would say pull it away from the other device a little bit, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Perfect.
Let people know who brung it to them.
How's that?
Raise your anything, President. Trump's policies on the economy would be better for your family. All right, so that is everybody.
Chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world. Afghanistan, yes. Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
Because of Kamala Harris's failed leadership, while you had people hanging off the airplanes.
When Putin saw how incompetent they were, he said, wow, I'm now going to go into Ukraine.
This is what Russian President Vladimir Putin unleashed on Ukraine.
It's almost like they intentionally tried to set the Middle East on fire. Hamas terrorists went door to door, slaughtering anyone they could find.
I'll tell you what, we're in a safe world. Now we have a very, very dangerous world. We're going to get rid of these people that have destroyed our country.
He's doing this for one reason and one reason alone. It is a rescue mission for the American people. Trump's rescue mission, saving America.
This is a rescue mission We're going to make America great again, greater than ever before.
So that's it.
I'm excited. You know, Tucker's got a documentary coming out. They've been with him for months, and they have been with him through the both assassination attempts.
Yeah,
that's going to be really
that's
compelling.
a series.
Well.
I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some great stuff going on out there. So, all right. There was one other. Oh, if you guys have not caught some of the interviews with JD Vance, I highly recommend going out and checking those out. The stuff that he is saying is super smart. The way that he articulates President Trump's plan is beyond measure. I mean, he's right up there with Vivek. I mean, they're best friends, so why not? But, you know, hopefully he's not Obamaing us. And if he's not, then we're going to be in really good shape with these two guys running the country.
All right. Well, not to break in, but I want to thank the people listening in on Rumble and Pilled and QUX and Kick and who else?
X Live,
because the stream is going to end here in about 5 minutes. So I didn't want to.
I meant to do that earlier, and I got sidetracked.
Forget them. And that's why I'm doing it, because I know that you got sidetracked, and
squirrels.
I wanted to make sure that got done, and to remind folks that we have a brand new website, and it's beautiful, and we have
functional.
Yeah, it does lots of nice things, and it has a store where you can like buy stuff. T-shirts and hats and you know, all sorts of other things, and
frisbees.
You can support America Mission all sorts of different ways, which we deeply appreciate, and carry your swag wherever you go. And so thank you very much for being in our spaces and participating and spreading the word.
We're going to be having a sale in October too. So
the gospel of
shit show
of the American dream. So we are forever grateful for your love and support.
Bree, go ahead. You're on.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. Thank you. I appreciate it. No, it just took me a second to unlock my phone. Hey, before you close out the space, I did want to bring up, have you guys seen Lev Parnas's new documentary from Russia with Love?
No.
Well, so this is exactly that narrative I was trying to explain. You know, I mean, everyone's seen it, the whole Russia thing, but this is what I've been uncovering now for months. The centralized authority that the Biden administration has delegated to the Office of Foreign Asset Control and the Committee for Foreign Investments in the United States. This goes right back to that supposed, you know, TikTok ban bill that we were talking about. Remember, and everybody was talking about like, oh, is free speech really free? Like, should we really allow foreign agents to have control of the algorithm? That was never the conversation. I don't know if it was like purposely obfuscated or if people just don't read policy. I'm not sure which it is. But the whole conversation was actually about divestiture.
Yes,
which is,
ma'am. I remember it well.
So Congress gave the president the authority to force a private entity to sell their controlling shares in another corporation. That's what this bill was about.
And they gave him only, 165 days to do it in? Or 195, something like that.
Yeah, well, the terms, those are all, so that all gets administered through the Office of Foreign Asset Control and through CFIUS, which is the Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States. Just like if you pass a farm bill, right, it gets administered through the United States Department of Agriculture. Same exact principle. So it just so happens that both of these agencies are sub-agencies of the Treasury. And on July 22nd, Biden delegated sole authority to the Treasury over the Repo Act. So 7521, HR 7521, which was this supposed TikTok ban bill, was attached to the Supplemental Appropriations Act for Rebuilding Ukraine, also known as the Repo Act. So the two were connected and enjoined by Congress. And then Biden delegated that sole authority. He gave over his authority as president to the Treasury. So even if Trump gets into office, he will no longer have authority over this. It will be at the sole discretion of the Treasury. Anyways, and then of course these two agencies. And what this means, what this looks like, is that this one administrative agency has the sole authority to not only seize, but now sell assets in order to offset the growing budget, the growing national debt, the deficit, right? So they can seize our stuff and sell it to offset and fund their proxy wars, which are not declared by Congress and are pretty much indefinite. It's like a total Emmanuel Goldstein scenario, but I digress. The point is, this is all connected and all tied into that whole Russia narrative, because Russia is, guess what? A nation, a designated nation of concern, foreign nation of concern. So anybody who is even considered or alleged of operating, what was the language,